Hello and welcome back to Vox Terra, fellow environmentalists, visionaries, and anybody who wants to see the long-term survival of our species be the political priority. Today, we're going to take a look at a part of the Green New Deal, or as Franklin Roosevelt's time period would have said it, the Green New Deal. We have nothing to fear but fear itself. So we're going to take a look at the part of the Green New Deal dealing with agriculture and farming. And I think that's real exciting. A Green New Deal for the farmland. Well, let's take a look at that. In keeping with Bernie Sanders, who likes to point out that we have, as in his words, which I believe he's quoting Martin Luther King, we have socialism for the rich. In other words, our society is dominated by certain wealthy, powerful interests and industries, and those industries rewrite the game rules and funnel the money and the power towards them, even at the expense of the public and public health. So if we go to section number 3, scroll down at that Green New Deal website on the BernieSandersIs.com. Number 3, rebuild our economy and ensure justice for frontline communities. You go there and then go a little further down, you're going to get to empowering farmers, foresters, and ranchers to address climate change and protect ecosystems. And here, he cites us to a couple really cool, really useful environmental resources. One is a group called the Environmental Working Group. And that's where he cites to point out the fact that, listen to this, sadly, just 10% of farmers receive 75% of agricultural subsidies in the U.S. So I clicked on that link. It took me to the Environmental Working Group. And I thought, I feel like I've heard of them because like I might have mentioned, growing up, my mother donated to environmental organizations, and I've done the same. So I know some of the players, some of the legitimate players. And I looked on my refrigerator, and these are a couple handouts, I guess, if you want to use teacher terms, that my mother must have given me in the past. One is a guide to foods and how much pesticides they're holding on to. Another is which actually is a seafood. Another one is called superfoods. But anyway, the point here is that the Environmental Working Group is a legitimate, long-time environmental group that can be trusted and relied upon, I believe. So Bernie cites to them regarding agricultural subsidies. And going to the Environmental Working Group's website, says U.S. Department of Agriculture subsidies in the United States totaled $396 billion from 1995 to 2019. It's a long period of time. But the top 10% of recipients were paid 75% of all U.S. Department of Agricultural subsidies. Just like Bernie Sanders is saying, we've got socialism for the rich. Now, I wanted to cross-reference that statistic, and I found not an environmental group this time, not some kind of left-wing group who's against these big corporations. What I found was a group called Downsizing Government, who is obviously in the libertarian mode or kind of an anti-government mode. And they actually said something very similar, and when I looked at where they were referencing it to, they were referencing it to the Environmental Working Group. So that's another thing I find very exciting about that way of explaining to people, this economy is totally subsidized. There's not really any free market. And if you handle it that way when you're pushing for environmental, changes or towards helping out greener technology, you're going to tap into both that anti-government mindset and to the people who know that's happening but want to switch those subsidies towards greener, less toxic, less polluting alternatives. Next time, we'll take a look at what Bernie Sanders is calling for in his Green New Deal regarding regenerative agriculture and organic farming. I hope this helped. If it did, please share, please subscribe, please click that notification button, please comment. Not all caps and shouting or insults, but sincere constructive criticism. Or supportive comments are always welcome. And if I ever set up some way to take donations for this channel, please consider donating. And until next time, peace be with you.